Hey, welcome back to Max Nave Horsemanship again today. Glad you could join me. In a recent video, I was accused of talking too much, I guess. I think that's not exactly what they said. They said something to the effect of, do you just talk a lot or do you actually do training? Something to that effect. I don't know. I guess they just don't get it. That's kind of what I do, is I talk a lot because I talk about the things that nobody else talks about that need to be talked about. And, well, today's no exception. But we'll start off with a little on the weather. Yeah. For a change, we got a reasonably decent day as far as temperature goes. It's, again, around 50 Celsius, 10 degrees Fahrenheit. No, 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Get that the right way around or you'll really get confused. Sunny. And as you can see behind me, most of the snow is gone again. However, it's a little breezy, no surprise. But I want to talk about approaching a horse. And, well, before I elaborate anymore, I'm going to say there is no one right way. There are definitely a couple wrong ways, but there's really no one right way. And it all depends on the personality of the horse and the level of training it's had. Now, if you're working with a nervous horse that's pretty close to feral, it's going to be completely different than a really calm horse that's well trained and well experienced. You know, so there's no one right way to do things, okay? But I'm going to talk a little bit about it so that you understand the variables and how they can affect what you do and why you should or shouldn't do things a certain way. Hey, buddy. Well, since I have a volunteer right here, we'll use this guy as an example. When it comes to approaching a horse, whether you're just approaching it to touch it, or you want to put the bridle on, or whether you want to saddle it, there's a number of things you have to keep in mind. What a nice guy. He didn't want anything to do with me at one time, not long ago either. Now, follows me everywhere I go, but he's very respectful. He keeps his distance. He doesn't crowd me or push on me. As you can see, he's at a very decent distance. So anyhow, back to the topic of approaching a horse. Now, there's two things that are definitely wrong, and I'll start with them, and then we'll talk about some of the other variables. Don't sneak up. Don't be always super quiet around your horse, because they'll get accustomed to that, and then if you do anything a little above and beyond that, or anybody else around you does, the horse is going to have a meltdown. It's not going to be able to handle it because it's used to you being, well, really quiet. Well, there's another downside of that one too, is if you're real quiet and you're always sneaking up on the horse, some horses, and this is a theory, I don't know if it's true or not, because, well, I just don't do it, so I don't know how it works, but the theory is that if you sneak up on the horse, they're kind of acting like a predator that's about to pounce because they sneak up on the horse. And so if you act sneaky, there's a good chance that horse might revert back to its instincts and get very worried about you. Well, the other part of that one too is if you're very worried about your horse's reaction, the horse, now we don't understand how this works, nobody does, but the horses can really pick up on your emotions. And if you're really worried about how the horse is liable to react, there's a very good chance that horse is going to sense your worry and it's going to get worried too. And then it's far more likely to react. So you're not actually helping it at all by being super cautious. It's like one guy said, don't be bashful. You know, and with me, my thought is just be confident that you're not going to have a problem. You know, we're going to walk up to this guy, say, how you doing, buddy? You know, and whatever we want with him, and we're not going to have a problem. Have that mentality when you're approaching your horse. Now, whether you're saddling or bridling it or just trying to touch it, have the same mentality all the time. Don't be shy. Don't be sneaky. Don't be slinking around. That's going to bother the horse probably a lot more than if you're just bold. And I like the horse to get used to all kinds of normal movements around it, so that if somebody else does something weird and wacky, or even I do, because who knows what I'm liable to do, it's not going to get the horse all upset. The horse isn't going to have a meltdown because I moved too quick near it. Now, even a really well-broke horse, if certain motions can, if you move your hand really fast towards the head, particularly if the horse has had any abuse at all, or just a little worried and head shy, that might be a bad thing. That might make the horse jump back. I've had horses like that. You gotta just, but don't get too cautious. You still gotta have a certain level of confidence that it's not going to be a problem. I can rub them. I can touch them all over. It's not going to be a problem. And because you have that attitude, the horse picks up on your confidence, and they're more confident. So you don't have problems. The other wrong thing to do is the opposite extreme. Now, and that's just a case of respect. When you're putting the saddle on the horse, well, I got one. She's here somewhere, over there somewhere. I'm not sure which one she is. And, I could pretty much literally throw a saddle on her. I mean, actually, no, not pretty much. I actually can literally throw a saddle on her. But I don't do that because that would be disrespectful. I place it on as gently as possible. And I think I'll do a video on that whole subject someday on how to properly saddle your horse, because there's a few little subtleties to it that I don't think most people understand or know, at least from my observations anyhow. And, well, if you got an English saddle or Western saddle, that's going to be different too, but we won't get into that just right now. So the two opposite extremes is, one is being too sneaky, the other is being a little too brash, where, well, you're flipping the bridle around, you smack the horse in the face with it, maybe hit it in the eye. You don't want to do that, because not only can you cause injury, but that would definitely get a horse upset if it got hit in the eye by something. It's not going to like that, and then, well, the next time you go to halter it or bridle it or something like that, it might get a little bit worried, and you actually create a problem by doing that. And the same with putting on a saddle. If you put it on properly and gently, you can put it on fairly briskly, but gently at the same time, so that you don't have this big bang on the horse's back that is just downright not nice. So those are the two main no-nos, is being too sneaky or being a little too careless. In between, well, like I said, that all depends on the nature of the horse and its level of training, how you have to treat it. And, and I've seen all different ones. Some you actually have to be a little cautious. You saw when I first made friends with this guy, I was cautious, but I didn't sneak up on him. I just kind of casually moved closer and closer to him all the time until I could touch him. And, well, now, as you can see, he doesn't care. I can touch him all I want. And he don't mind one little bit because he's a good guy. So have a little confidence, but avoid the extremes. Don't sneak up. Don't be disrespectful and careless. But in between, like I said, there's no one right way, and it all depends on the level of training in the horse and experience it has, and just the personality of the horse, because some horses are just naturally a little more reactive, and some are just, you could do anything you want to them and they don't care anyhow. I owned one of those ones. Yeah, he was a nice guy though, very nice guy, and actually turned out once he understood what I wanted, he could be quite sensitive too to my cues, even though nothing much seemed to bother him. That was another horse you could literally, well, actually, come to think of it, I could probably do it with pretty much all my horses, is literally throw a saddle on them, and they didn't care. So you don't have to be sneaky. You don't have to be cautious. Well, okay, a little bit, depending on, like I said, depending on the stage of the horse's training, depending on the personality of the horse. There is no one right way. The only two definite wrong ways are, one is being a little too sneaky, because that'll make the horse nervous, and the other is being a little too careless, because, well, you could end up hurting the horse or scaring the horse, and depending on where the horse is at, that could be a very bad thing. And it's just bad etiquette. It's kind of like, slapping somebody so hard you just about knock them over instead of giving them a gentle pat on the shoulder. Which one would you prefer? A gentle pat on the shoulder, or someone coming up and whacking you on to the point where you lose your balance? Oh, I think I know which one I'd prefer. And, well, that's the way I treat the horse. In between, though, like I said, there's all the variables in there. you know, the personality of the horse and its level of training and experience. You're going to have to figure that one out, what you need to do with your horse that's going to work. Because, well, like I said, there's no one right way. But approaching a horse is important. And there are definitely wrong ways to do it. One is being too sneaky, the other is being careless and disrespectful. Yeah, that's not nice. Have a good day.